feature was really cool. So you can see here I've not yet piped up the central heating flow or return on the system, and there's no pressure in the boiler. Now on a normal combi boiler you won't get any hot water at this stage, but because of the unique design of the Intergas heat exchanger, at this stage in the game we've got hot water. The way it works is we've got separate waterways for the central heating and the hot water, and there's no plate heat exchanger or diverter valve. So the cold water comes in, and on this model we've got flue gas heat recovery, so it goes up via this stainless steel pipe, gets preheated and enters the heat exchanger at the bottom there, passes through the heat exchanger, travels down and activates a flow switch. If we look at a cutout of the heat exchanger, we've got 22mm waterways for the central heating and independent 12mm waterways for the hot water. And because there's no plate or diverter valve, you can set this boiler up as a multi-point water heater, a system boiler or a combi. What's up guys, it's PB. Welcome to another Life of a Jobbing Plumber. Thanks for tuning in. I'm really sorry that they're getting further and further apart. I'm struggling to cope with the workload at the minute, so making YouTube videos is a bit down on my priorities. You could probably tell from my voice I'm a bit under the weather, so I thought I'd start this one off by talking about what you do when you're ill. So for me, tablets, honey and lemon in a flask, and just plough through the work, get it done, get home, get on the sofa and just curl up and feel like you're dying is normally my method. The thing with being self-employed and being ill is if you don't go to work and do the jobs, number one, you're not going to get paid. Number two, let's say it's Saturday morning now, I'm going to work till about 2 o'clock, then I'm going home. If I didn't come to work this morning, these jobs I've got booked in today, when am I going to do them? Monday. But I'm fully booked Monday, so the jobs that are on Monday, are they going to be bumped to Tuesday, or will I tell the people on Saturday my next free day is Thursday? So it's the hassle of not getting your commitments done. If you're on your own, obviously if you're working with someone else, get them to do it. If you've got a mate in the area, say to him, look, I'm ill, can you help me out? Some people will be understanding and they'll say, yeah, that's fine, book me in for Thursday. Some of them won't be, they want it done, they might get someone else, you lose a customer. So it is tricky being self-employed when you've got to take time for it. Same thing with holidays. Your missus might want a 2-week holiday. Yeah, that's all well and good, but if you've got no one to cover you, you're off for 2 weeks, who's going to answer the phone calls? Who's going to do the work? Someone else. Then when you get back, some of your regular customers, yeah, they understand you've got to go on holiday, you'll keep them, but new customers or customers that you aren't really got a relationship with, you might lose to another guy. So it is tricky when you're self-employed, having time off work. Anyway, enough of the depressing stuff. Got a few different jobs for you this week, hope you enjoy them. And then I'm probably going to do a little separate video about the November campaign, but I will mention it at the end of this one. About supporting that, because we're right in the middle of November, right in the thick of the campaign at the minute. So yeah, thanks for watching, hope you enjoy it, see you at the end. Right, got a bog standard toilet job to show you now. I'm going to be fitting the Viva siphon and Skylo 4-in-1 valve, and I'm going to show you a little trick with it. But before we look at that, I'm going to show you my box. Now sometimes you'll know when you take these cisterns off, the close coupled ones, they get rusted. This one I had to snap the bolt off. Now all you organisation freaks are going to love this. This is my bot smart van racking box, which I've basically set up as a toilet repair kit. So I've got all different kinds of stuff in for toilets, like the bolts, washers, rubber washers, the domed ones, all different styles, wing nuts, back nuts, fibre washers, flow limiters, things like that, and then repair kits for sort of float valves, siphons, and then anything and everything that you would need to fix a toilet I've got in here. You know, it's a nice little box to have just to bring in, and you can do pretty much everything with it. I'm still showing you bits in the box. You can tell I'm doing a voiceover on this one, can't you? So yeah, we're going to be replacing these two parts in this cistern, and as I said, I'm going to show you a little trick with this. So just going to quickly show you the siphon is fully adjustable. I'm not sure on the specific heights, but you know, 9, 11 inch, whatever you need. So you just pull that clip out and you can change the height of it. And then on the opposite side, you just turn this to move this up and down. Just turn this here, and it'll go right from the top there down to the bottom. You can just change the size and it's dead easy. So I've got the siphon in, that's all connected. This toilet had one of those blue blocks but a pink one, which is all over my hands at the minute. So I'm also going to swap this. So they've got a side entry tool back in, which is really crap. So I'm just going to replace that. Now, you might know about this, you might not. I didn't know about this until until they released them, really. But looking at this is a bottom entry float valve. So you're thinking, why have you got that? You're not going to stick it in like that, are you? That's stupid. And if you didn't know, this is really clever. So I'm just going to drop the camera down. On these Viva 4-in-1 valves, the actual brass shank is removable. So what that means is you could fit that into your toilet, connect the pipework to it, and then you could screw the float valve in afterwards. But the other thing you can do is on the side, there's another entry point there, which you can screw the tail into. You don't have to do anything with the one you just took it out of, and you don't have to blank it off if you're using it as a bottom entry valve. You literally just unscrew it and screw it. So now we've got a brass shank side entry float valve. Pretty cool. So it keeps all the features as if you're using it as a bottom entry valve. You can still twist it, set the level, stuff like that. We've just changed it to a side entry valve, so we can stick it in there. If there's anything in the way in the toilet, like the siphon, it just twists to move it. So we're going to swap this toilet valve for that. You can see that we've got it in, and if we need to move it we can, and we can alter the height just by turning that, which I think I've showed you before on these Viva valves. So that's that. Now the only downside is brass shank. So if that pipe was any closer, you wouldn't be able to cut it like you would on a plastic one. Sometimes you cut the thread down, or you'd adjust the nut there, the locking nut, back nut, to move the thread into the toilet, so you've got less on the outside. So that's the only downside. You can't do that. You don't get a locking nut kit with it to do that. So if you did have to do that, you'd have to borrow the one off the old Torbeck to make it fit. But if you've just got a nice easy one like I have, that's it. Water's back on. See there, nice little job. I do love this Viva stuff. This bloody, it looks like someone's thrown a bath bomb in there. It's all over my hands. I've got it on my t-shirt as well. Hate this stuff. This one was a little Saturday call out to a boiler with no heating and no hot water. When I got here, the tenants had turned the power off, so it's not been working for a few hours now, but she did tell me that it had an overheat fault. So you can see there the overheat neon's illuminated and lit. The boiler's cold because it's not been running, but the first thing we're going to look at is obviously the overheat stat, because that's what's telling the boiler it's overheated. Now some boilers you'll have to take the cover off, locate the overheat stat, and there'll be a little red button or a button on that you will physically have to reset yourself. This one's not got the button. You can see there's no button on it, so the case of resetting this will be on the actual board itself. If there's not a reset button on there, normally you can reset a boiler by turning it to 0 and back up again. So with any overheat problem, the first thing I'll look at is the pump, because overheating of a boiler can be caused to no circulation or poor circulation. So obviously looking at this pump, you can tell that it's knackered, it's been leaking, it looks old. It's not red hot. One of the telltale signs of a pump not working properly is it will be absolutely scalding hot, because the motor is working too hard. On this one it is actually spinning. It sounds like it's spinning on all 3 settings. So a great way to find out or to confirm that a pump isn't performing as it should is take the spindle out of the middle. Now you will need to put a rag down or a bowl, because there will be water coming out, especially if this was on. When you get it, it will be absolutely scalding hot and you'll get water or even steam, really hot water out. So you can see there, you shouldn't be able to stop a healthy pump that easily by putting a screwdriver into it. That's a great way of testing. So this job's going to have a new pump, and then just going to show you here, resetting the boiler, turn it to 0 and back up again clears the fault. But I'll be fitting a new pump on this next week. What's up guys, it's PB. I've shown this Tapex kit from Nerad Tools before. If you're fitting any kind of taps, but especially monoblock mixer taps, ratchet, extension bar and these hollow shafted sockets make fitting a monoblock tap an absolute doddle. It really is a good bit of kit, and I don't see that many people with it. It just got me thinking, like, how does the brand of a tool affect your decision to buy it? Because it is such a good bit of kit. But have you ever heard of Nerad tools? And then I was thinking, if this kit came in this box, a lot more people would have it. What do you think? Right, been called out to this boiler by the letting agency because they've not had any heating or water over the weekend. And they said the boiler was making a noise and leaking, so you can see there's water dripping out of it. I have had a quick look at this, took the cover off. So, you can see on the inside here, it's swimming with water, and the amount of rust and stuff tells me that it's been leaking for a while. And if you look on the plate there, and at the side of the plate, if you can see it, almost looks like it's got a hole in it. So, the reason I'm filming this, what I would do now, start at the top, because although the water's down there, it could be something dripping at the top that's coming down and then eventually ending up there. So I always start at the top, see what I can see. If it's dry, then move down until you find something that's weeping. And also what I'm going to do is, because I have had a look so far and I can't really tell where it's coming from. So what I'm going to do, because the pressure is on 0, it's already leaking, it's outside, it don't really matter if it leaks anymore, so it's filling leaks, knackered. Going to put some more water in the system, so hopefully we can tell where it's coming from. I would say shout up if you can see it, but you're not here. It's getting worse. Right, I can see some movement at the back there. I don't know if you can see that. Ah, there we go. Pinhole on this pipe. See that? So that's this copper pipe which is into that, oh bloody hell, it's into that soldered T there onto the plate. So what I would normally do is I would suggest we see if that's a bit. Let me just turn the filling loop off first. That's just what it was. Yeah, so as I was saying, a lot of the time I would probably just source this part and repair it, but the condition the boiler's in, the fact that it's been leaking a while, it's probably not been serviced. Looks a bit dirty inside the heat exchanger, and just the age of it really. I mean, I will be quoting for a new boiler on this one. So I did end up replacing this boiler, and unfortunately, because I was so busy, the phone wouldn't stop ringing, I didn't actually get around to filming this install. Tried to make a decent job of the pipes. Someone did point out to my Instagram though that the gas pipe, I probably should have bent that over the return and the cold. It would have been a better job, but you live and learn. Also, it was quite tight to get the lagging on, but I did my best with that as well. So apologies for not filming the install. What's up guys, it's PB back with another 60-second fault finding tip. Now it's not always boilers we have to do fault finding on, sometimes it's the component parts. For instance, on this job we've got no hot water because this zone valve isn't opening. Now you could look at a wiring diagram, but a lot of the time you'll find your wiring centre looks like this, which is no good to anyone. It can be quite daunting. So I like to break it down into a series. Now we always start at the programmer. The way it works is you call for a demand, the programmer puts voltage onto your cylinder start. If your cylinder starts calling for heat, it puts voltage onto the zone valve. If the zone valve opens, it sends voltage to the boiler and your boiler fires up. So I've pinpointed this to the programmer. All I've done is put a link wire in to put a live feed down, which then goes to our cylinder start. So if we put a demand on by turning the cylinder start up, that's energising the zone valve, which is opening, and then the power's going to the boiler for the boiler to fire up. It's just a process of elimination. Always starting at the programmer. Right guys, this is the next job. I've been called out to this job because the shower's not working. And this is a rental property, so the letting agency have rang me and said the shower's not working. So it's a legitimate call out to a job. I'm just going to take you in now, show you what it is, and then we'll have a chat about it. So what do you do in this situation? Now luckily for me, this is a rental job, so the letting agency have sent me a works order to attend to look at a shower not working. I can bill them for my time for driving out to this job and telling the tenant that they've not turned the power onto the shower. Whether the letting agency disputes that or the landlord disputes that, we'll see, but I can put a bill in. Where it becomes tricky when you're self-employed, if this was, say, a nice little old lady's rang you up, my shower's not working, can you pop round? You get there, she might have just moved in, she might have dementia, but she's obviously, it's an easy fix, there's nothing really wrong, you don't need any tools off the van, you don't really need any skill or experience to tell them what's wrong. So do you charge them? It's totally up to you. You could, you might have driven half an hour and it's half an hour back, so you can ask them for money for your diesel. But in this situation, if it was a private job, a little old lady, I probably wouldn't charge. If you do want to charge, that's absolutely fine. You're running a business, not a charity. You need to earn your money. You need to cover yourself for your time and your diesel. But just the way I think about it is, the next time she does need a job, say a new boiler or a new bathroom suite, she might think, oh, remember that nice plumber who came round and fixed the shower for me and didn't charge me. So you've got to weigh it up, but it is always tricky. But you will get some jobs where you get there and you think there's nothing wrong. You might be on camera, they might be filming you, they might be checking you out to see if you're a decent guy. But yeah, you do get them. And for me, because it's rental, because I can send a bill, it's nice, easy, 55 quid plus VAT. Don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's jobs you'll get that are easy. Do you always charge for them? Let me know in the comments. Do you always charge for a little quick fix, or do you do sort of goodwill to hopefully get some work out of it? Yeah, let me know in the comments. Right, this job, it's a Worcester boiler, got an EA fault, so it's trying to light and not lighting. The reason for that normally is, here we've got the spark electrodes, and these warp in the heat. So say this one would bend over this way, and the distance between here and here is where the spark is generated. Now if it's too far away, it either won't spark, or because it's got to travel further, the spark will be too weak, so it won't be the right temperature to ignite the gas. So that's the usual fault. This is the rectification probe. So this basically senses, once the gas is lit, sends a message down to the gas valve on the circuit board, so yeah, the flame's lit, you can go into, full fire mode. And you can see on the end there, it's worn down to a fine point. This is really common on LPG boilers because they burn at a hotter temperature. But the reason this one's like this is because it's never been serviced or looked at since it was installed. You can see here, we've got this viewing eye here. Now Worcester have actually superseded this part with this one, which is the replacement. You can see that viewing window's gone. Because what would happen is the glass would crack, and then the gas would, or the lit gas would shoot out of here, and it would burn all the front cover of the boiler. You'd have a big burn mark there, and it would also ruin all these cables and things. So yeah, we're swapping that, and you can see the difference here on the rectification side. You know, look at the size of that. That's how much it's worn down. That's how long that's been in. So we're going to replace this. New gasket. Always important you put a new gasket on when you're messing with gas parts. And we're also going to open up the heat exchanger to service it, which I've shown you before. That's these two here. There is a gasket around here as well, so if you are going to take this off, you've got to put a new gasket on it. What's up guys, it's PB back with another 60-second fault finding tip. So I've been called to this job with no central heating. Now the method that works best for me is to work out what cable feeds what component part, and then in a series, starting at the programmer, work out which part's doing its job and which part's not to identify the fault. So I'm going to start at the programmer on this one. I've already had this off the wall, and I know that the red cable is the switch line for the central heating. So when I call for a demand, I should have 240 volts on this red cable. If I've not, then I know the programmer's at fault. Because I have, then I go to the next step in the series, which is the room thermostat. We've got 240 volts down to the room thermostat. So the next thing we need to check is that we've got 240 volts going back up when the room stat's calling on the yellow cable. Back up in the wiring centre on the yellow cable, we've got 240 volts. That confirms that the room stat is working. Putting 240 volts onto the motorised valve, but the valve's not opening. That proves that the fault lies with the motorised valve. Stick a new valve on, now it's all good. Right guys, let's talk about November. So the campaign's going well. We're on Saturday the 3rd, Saturday in November. So we're just over 3 weeks from since we started. We're on nearly 34,000 signatures, which is good, but I'm still not happy. It still needs to be more. We need 100,000 signatures. Ideally, I wanted to get them in a month. The campaign can run for 6 months. Any petition, you get 6 months to run it. So hopefully, you know, I'm thinking maybe 12 weeks, maybe 3 months, we should hit the 100,000 if we keep pushing. The most important thing is to ask people who aren't on social media, so your friends, your family, your customers, to sign the petition. I went yesterday to meet my MP and the Police and Crime Commission, and we spoke to some serving police officers as well. And it is tricky because, for example, if you wake up in the morning and you go to your van and all your kit's gone, you've not got any CCTV, there's no fingerprints. What reasonably can the police do? They can turn up and look at an empty van, but you know, where can they go from there? So I think after speaking to policemen, the most effective way of catching these people is these dummy vans where they set up, leave a van with kit with trackers in, wait for them to steal it, then follow the route of the tools. And where I live in Leicestershire, they do this already, and it will lead them back to a warehouse or a house with hundreds of power tools in there. Now, the best chance you've got of protecting your kit and getting it back is to mark it, whether that's with some smart water, some DNA, a UV pen. So it's positive that we are going to get the debate in Parliament. We are going to look at the CPS making it a more severe crime, so separating it from theft from a motor vehicle and making it a more severe crime with more severe penalties to put people off. But everyone's got to do their bit. So the CPS has got to do their bit, the insurance companies have got to do their bit. When you ring up and say, my van's been broken into, they don't say, right, you need to prove this, this and this. They need to have a tradesman's package where they say, right, when you signed up, you sent us a photo of all your kit, we're going to send you money to replace all that right away so you can get back to work. Because the most important thing is we don't miss work when it happens. We need to get straight back to work so we can earn money, provide for our families. So we're going to look at stuff like that. As tradesmen, it's our responsibility. Make your vehicle as secure as possible. Look after your tools, label them up, take photos of your kit, keep an inventory. You do your bit. The police are going to do their bit. They're going to do more of these sting operations. Believe it or not, they do actually enjoy catching criminals. So it's not like they don't care. They're struggling. They've not got the budget, the numbers to police things properly. We have, for us as tradesmen in our little bubble, it does mean a lot to us. But when there's knife crime, moped crime, other stuff that police have got to do, and their numbers are so low, it's all a big, everyone's got to do their bit to try and stop this. In an ideal world, there would be more police, but it's not an ideal world. So we look at it from a tradesman's perspective. Something's broke, let's fix it. The police, the government, they can't really do that. They've got to think of every single thing, and it's all a big chain of events. So but I am confident, I'm excited about getting these signatures, getting to Parliament, and maybe changing the law so that if you do take a tradesman's tools, you're going to know there's going to be a bigger punishment there for you if you get caught doing it, and the police are actively looking for you to try and stop it. So keep sharing the petition, keep signing it. I'm losing my voice now. Share it with your friends, your family. They don't have to be tradesmen to sign. If we keep doing that, we'll get the signatures, we'll get to Parliament, and the main thing is they need to know that this is going on, and we've had enough of it. We're fed up of it. So yeah, please keep signing the petition. You're doing a great job so far. As many signatures as you can get will really help.